Hello there, fellow captains. This is Connor, and this is also a video I hoped I would never have to make. Dreadnought will be going offline on March 19th. Dear captains, after countless epic battles, Dreadnought will sunset on March 19th, 2023. We love the universe that we were able to create together with you. Thank you. To give a proper send-off and farewell to the game, we're planning a number of activities and events between now and March. Please stay tuned for announcements. So, all of these bullet points or whatever. If you have any questions, please send us a message through our support portal and we'll respond as soon as we can. Our team would like to express our sincere gratitude to you for your support. It is a privilege to work with you, to be part of your community and to play with you. Thank you. With respect and sincere appreciation, the 6-foot team. PS, while the game is being sunset, our team is already hard at work on its next chapter. I suppose it goes without saying that this is horrible news, and I really didn't want this to happen. I'm seeing the exact same pattern here that happened with Fractured Space, which is still one of my favourite games of all time. As flawed as Fractured Space was, as limited as it was, the community, the developers, everything surrounding that game was awesome, and I will never, I don't think, experience anything like it again in my lifetime. So, Dreadnought came at a very good time for me, whenever Fractured Space was being shut down, and it was a good alternative, and in its own right, it improved in certain aspects, and I enjoyed Dreadnought a lot. I built, I would say, a very awesome community around the game. I started making videos about the game because I was enjoying it, and I was brash, and I did jump the gun, and had a bit of a temper. I criticised the company and the developers and the publisher or whatever for certain aspects of the game, but I did that because I genuinely do like the game. It's the same thing with Darktide right now. Darktide is a really good game, but it's surrounded by bullshit. It's surrounded by greed, and I complain about it because I love it. I've started making videos again because Darktide sucks that much, and I want it to be better. It was the same for Dreadnought. I could see the game had a lot of potential, but greed was getting in the way, and sadly greed's something that we're dealing more and more with in the gaming industry, which is angering, to say the least. But deep down, to its core, Dreadnought is an incredible game. So what happened to Dreadnought? Like, where'd it go wrong? And I will just start this by saying, or explaining why I stopped playing the game. For a while there, for at least over a year, however long it was, I was uploading nothing but Dreadnought a few years back, and then I just stopped out of nowhere. Basically, I had a bug that was limiting the number of ships I could have in my legendary fleet loadout to 4. You're meant to have 5 at max, and whenever you have max 5 ships, then your income at the end of a match is increased. I always had elite status, and I paid for it a lot, even whenever I wasn't really playing the game. I still paid for the elite status to support the company and the game itself, but after countless bug reports and at the advice of a couple of you guys contacting the developers directly through Discord, I never heard back from them. They never replied, or pretty much got ghosted, and the bug even remains to this day. So I started to feel like, even though I was putting money into the game to help me progress through the tiers faster, I was being handicapped, and it was pointless because the game was as grindy as it was and still is. So I stopped. I just stopped playing the game. Now, I do dip into it now and again every few months just to have a couple of matches and then back out again, because the game's that good. It still grabs my attention. I still enjoy it. I just feel like there's no point whenever I can't really play the game like you guys are playing, and I can't enjoy it to the same extent. So that's the reason. I don't have any malicious intent towards the game or the developers. I just didn't really think it was worth playing at that point. So where did Dreadnought go wrong? And the one thing, or there's actually a couple of areas where I think it went wrong, but the one thing I want to ask you folks, you captains out there, is do you remember whenever we were first, those of us who first supported the game in its very early stages, that they were promoting a single player story driven campaign? Because that's the sole reason at the time that I promoted it, because I couldn't really afford it, and I went overdrawn just to be able to get the game. Because of this single player story driven campaign, I was interested, it sounded interesting, but they pushed it back and pushed it back, and it never materialized. They ended up cancelling it, which was sad, because I think the single player campaign would have went a long way to flesh out the universe that Dreadnought was set in. Like, who are the different captains of Sinley Bay? What are some of these battles that are described in the ship descriptions? What happened to the transhumans? What exactly are they? Who are they? but we never got anything. We just got a cookie cutter, tier progression, free to play game like World of Tanks. Only this game was never going to be as popular as World of Tanks because World of Tanks deals with real vehicles that exist in real life that enthusiasts can play the game to check out in World of Tanks, and every single person on the planet to an extent knows what a Tiger tank is, what a Sherman is, what a T-34 is. But Dreadnought isn't like that. Sure, you can look at some of the game arts or some of the trailers, and the initial reveal trailer was awesome. Like these bombers or these interceptors impacting on the hull of a Dreadnought. That was sick. I loved it so much, and it grabbed me immediately upon watching it. But that's not really going to grab you if you have no interest outside of, just the ships themselves. And they are cool, the designs and the artists who worked on the designs for the ships and the different manufacturers were all very talented, but there was nothing actually there to grab you. Something that looks cool is just that it looks cool, but it has no depth. It has nothing to really hold you. And that's the main problem I felt Dreadnought had. You had Bix, who was always talking shit, even though you never really knew why he was important as he is, or he was made out to be. And the game just became worse and worse over time. It had many performance issues, many bugs, and yet they were just rushing it out the door to get it on the PlayStation and on it. I felt as many platforms as they could. The reason they stopped at PlayStation and PC is because potentially they ran out of money and they were realising how difficult it was to port a game to another console that wasn't even ready on PC. It was just a bit of a mess. The game was also very grindy, and players have complained about that for years, but it comes down to the fact that I believe what they were most interested in was your money. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. They're a business and they need to make money, but it's the way they went about trying to get your money. Focusing more on some of the microtransactions in the game, the cosmetics, the hero ships, instead of trying to make the game as polished as possible before moving anywhere with it. The PlayStation version ended up getting more on it than we had on PC, more game modes and stuff, which just didn't really make sense. So it seemed that the leadership behind the decisions for the game and its lifespan were just way out of whack and didn't really seem aimed anywhere. There was also, whenever the game was released initially, they promoted it through YouTubers, and they would pay these YouTubers to play the game. And after the first video that they were paid for, these YouTubers never went near it again because it wasn't their type of thing. It's a very niche title. These fictional sci-fi starships that you captain, it's a very niche idea and genre, I'd say. That's one of the reasons Fractured Space failed, is because there just weren't enough people interested in it. Now, of course, we who are really, really dedicated to that idea, and I wish there were more games like that. It's really sad that there aren't, and I wish a company would do it right, because we are willing to pay for these games. We are willing to do what needs to be done, but there's not that many of us. So you need to set your aim a little bit lower, your bar a little bit lower, because Fractured Space, if they had stopped with their monetization finagling in the mid to late development stages of the game or lifespan of the game, it could have done a lot better. And it's the same with Dreadnought. You always saw regular updates with hero ships and skins and different cosmetics, but when it came to maps, some of the newer maps, or well, maps that were pretty new, I suppose, we didn't get really much of anything for ages there, they're still very poorly optimized, and there's this one map with this massive transhuman ship in the middle, and no matter how many times I go into it, it lags and lags and lags. It hits your FPS like a tanker and just tanks it really hard, and it does it with some other maps. The game isn't well optimized, but whoever is working on the game and whoever did work on the game to develop it, that passion, they put a lot of time and commitment into it, and you can see that they just didn't have the resources or were given the time to really iron out a lot of the issues the game still has to this day. And that's why it's really tragic that the game is being shut down in March, is because if they just took their time with it, developed a single player, story driven campaign, optimized the game on PC long before even thinking about putting it on console, and took their time with it, and made it less grindy than it still is to this day, then the game could have been so much more successful. But they didn't take their time, they rushed it out. and that's the worst part about it. Between Fractured Space and Dreadnought, as much as I love Fractured Space and I will always have a place in my heart for it, Dreadnought, I believe, could have been the more popular of the two if it was just a bit more focused in what it wanted to be. And I really am sorry to see it go. So I'll leave it there. I don't really want to be going on too long with this video. My throat is very, very sore. I don't know if I could pick up on mic, but it's painful to talk. I'm in extreme pain right now. So thank you all very much for watching. If you want to try and get something arranged before the sunset day, where we can all get on and play, then just let me know in the comments below. But anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that you're playing, and I, of course, like always, will see you next time. Bye bye.